No one knows this plane better than him. He's the design engineer. But fate played a cruel joke. When he boarded his own aircraft, something terrifying happened. Hey there, movie fans. Welcome to the channel. To take off, Judy noticed the last rows were empty, so she took her daughter back there to sleep. Little did she know something strange was about to unfold. When Judy woke from her nap, her daughter across from her had vanished. At first, she didn't worry. Maybe her daughter returned to their original seat. But when she checked, it was empty. Judy's panic caught the air marshal's attention. Learning she was searching for her daughter, he stated bluntly, "At 36,000 feet, even if the girl had wings, there's no way she could leave this plane." So much time had passed. He figured she'd gone to the bathroom, but after checking every lavatory, there was no sign of her. Now Judy was getting anxious. She asked a flight attendant if she'd seen a little girl. Hearing her daughter was in the galley, Judy felt relieved, but the girl who appeared wasn't her child. The attendant was clearly just brushing her off. With so many passengers, it's understandable. Maybe her daughter was playing with other kids. Judy grew frustrated. She'd repeatedly warned her daughter not to wander off in crowds. But after searching the entire double-decker plane, he realized he was wrong. His daughter was nowhere to be found. Judy's heart pounded. She suddenly thought, if her daughter couldn't find her, she'd likely return to where they'd been resting. She rushed back to the last row, but she only saw her daughter's precious teddy bear. Judy immediately realized the situation was serious. This teddy bear was her daughter's constant companion, always inseparable from her. Could her daughter have just vanished into thin air? He asked the passenger in front, "Have you seen a 6-year-old girl?" The response was unexpected. "Never seen her." Judy's unusual behavior finally caught the flight attendant's attention. After learning what happened, the attendant issued a missing person announcement over the intercom, asking any passenger who found the little girl to press the service bell. After a long wait, passengers on both decks gave no response. Judy demanded to search the entire plane, but the flight attendant refused. "I'll ask you to return to your seat, but I'm telling you, I'll personally speak with the captain to see if we can get you off this plane." However, after quite some time, neither the captain appeared nor did the flight attendant take any real action. Even more puzzling, passengers in the front rows all claimed they'd never seen any 6-year-old girl, even insisting that since boarding, they'd never seen a child with Judy. Judy wanted to ask two young friends for help keeping watch, but their father flatly refused. In the adult world, it's better to mind your own business. It seems to be an iron rule. Just then, the flight attendant beside her was called away. From their whispered exchange, Judy sensed a strong feeling of unease. She rushed forward to ask if there was any news about her daughter, but the flight attendant abruptly hung up the phone. She clearly boarded the plane with her daughter. How could there be no record? Seeing the other person still full of doubt, Judy immediately reached for both their tickets, but found only her own in her pocket. Then she suddenly remembered. Before boarding, her daughter had asked her to keep the boarding pass. Maybe it was in the bag. But when she opened the overhead bin, she discovered her daughter's backpack had also vanished without a trace. A 6-year-old child could never reach such a high luggage rack. Only at this moment did Judy suddenly realize she'd likely been caught up in a massive conspiracy. So despite everyone's attempts to stop her, she rushed straight toward the cockpit, but before she could knock on the captain's steel door, she was forcibly pressed against it. Her actions had triggered panic among the passengers, and the air marshal had to take forceful measures against her, but the captain still heard the commotion. She immediately pulled up the passenger boarding records and repeatedly verified with the crew. When questioning the gate attendant, their response shifted from initially definitive to evasive. And indeed, a teddy bear and blanket were left on the rear seat. The captain first cautiously asked Judy whether she'd been drinking or had taken any medication. "I need to confirm whether Judy's mental state is normal." Judy admitted she's on antidepressants. After her husband's fatal fall a week ago, she's been taking them every morning as prescribed. She brought her daughter on this trip to transport her husband's body back home for burial. The flight attendant confirmed a coffin was loaded, but everyone on board claims they haven't seen her daughter. Plus, all 32 children on board have been accounted for one by one, making this increasingly troubling. The captain turned to the flight attendant since her seat wasn't far from Judy and her daughter, but the answer was the same. She saw nothing. But Judy's anxious expression was clearly genuine, and the crew's slight hesitation when answering made the captain reach a decision. Then all the cabin lights came on, all passengers returned to their seats, and no one was permitted to use the restroom. The crew began inspecting luggage one by one, opening every overhead bin, checking any corner where a child could possibly hide. Seeing such dedication, Judy looked at them gratefully. But even after searching every corner of the plane, there was still no trace of her daughter, nor her backpack or boarding pass, yet Judy remained convinced her daughter was on board. She checked each seat carefully, and when she passed a bearded man, she suddenly felt he looked familiar. Judy's interrogating tone clearly annoyed the bearded man, and though his answer was flawless, it still drew whispers from nearby passengers. Judy approached the captain again, requesting to search the cargo hold, but was firmly refused. If they hit turbulence, anyone in the cargo hold could easily get hurt. She didn't believe a 6-year-old girl could make it to the cargo hold on her own. She said they'd continue searching the cabin, and if that proved fruitless, they'd consider sending trained personnel to the cargo hold. What Judy needed to do was return to her seat and wait patiently. Just then, Judy suddenly remembered she had indeed seen that bearded man before. The night before, Judy spotted 2 shadowy figures at the window across from them, sneaking glances toward her daughter's room. Thinking back now, it was these 2 people right in front of her. They must have kidnapped her daughter, but the bearded man insisted he'd never met Judy and even produced a hotel receipt as proof. But other passengers raised doubts. One receipt proves nothing. Even so, Judy had no evidence that they'd kidnapped her daughter. Judy's outburst made the air marshal lose all patience. He warned her that if she continued, he'd handcuff her. After all, why would they wait until boarding to act? And kidnapping a little girl not even on the passenger list made no sense. The air marshal's questions left Judy speechless. Just then, an announcement came over the speakers, lifting the lockdown, meaning the search for her daughter was officially over. Judy stormed up to the captain, demanding to know why he'd stopped the search. Judy thought her daughter had met with some accident on the plane. But the truth was far more cruel than she imagined. The crew had contacted the hospital transporting the coffin. They said Judy's daughter had also fallen to her death with her father. Judy couldn't believe it. After her husband's accident, she and her daughter had stayed at the hotel for a whole week. The captain's words hit like a thunderbolt, leaving Judy unable to tell reality from dream. She ran frantically toward where she remembered her daughter's seat being until the bearded man shoved her to the ground. When she came to again, she was back in her own seat with a woman who appeared to be a psychiatrist beside her. The captain had specially arranged this to calm her down. The woman explained that when people experience major trauma, they often choose to escape reality, unwilling to accept the pain of losing a loved one. Judy began to doubt whether she was hallucinating, but when she turned and saw the little heart drawn on the window, she immediately knew something was wrong. Her daughter had clearly drawn that when they first boarded, which meant everyone was lying. She asked to use the restroom, getting the air marshal to unlock her handcuffs. Once inside, she quickly removed her jacket, wrapped it around her hand and smashed open the ceiling vent. Next, she reached a steel door, easily prying it open with a coin. Inside the cabinet was the aircraft's main control circuit. Judy switched 2 of the wires above, and the oxygen masks in the cabin instantly dropped. Panicked, thinking they'd encountered an emergency. Then Judy pulled out another wire, unplugged it, and touched the exposed copper to other wires, causing the entire aircraft's power to short-circuit and plunging the cabin into Midway through, Judy slipped out of the restroom. In the darkness, she reached the service desk and successfully entered the cargo elevator below. At this moment, the captain also noticed something was wrong, and told the air marshal someone was trying to sabotage the power, but when she opened the restroom door, Judy had already vanished. Meanwhile, Judy had reached the cargo hold, calling out her daughter's name as she searched everywhere. When she saw her husband's coffin, she recalled the captain's words. Could her daughter really have left this world along with her husband? With trembling hands, Judy entered the code and opened the coffin lid only to find just her husband's body inside. This convinced her even more that she wasn't hallucinating, she had truly lost her daughter. But just as she was about to continue searching, the air marshal caught up and handcuffed her again, explaining that due to her extreme behavior, the plane would land at the nearest airport. This was exactly what Judy hoped for. Once landed, she could search the entire plane thoroughly for her daughter. She even forgot to relock her husband's coffin. When brought back to the cabin, she received no sympathy. Instead, the passengers cheered at having gotten rid of this crazy woman. Back at her seat, the air marshal left Judy in a flight attendant's care, saying she needed to report to the captain. But unexpectedly, instead of going to the captain, she followed Judy's route to the cargo hold, found the open coffin and ripped away the foam padding inside. Several plastic explosives appeared before her eyes. She was the mastermind behind this whole conspiracy. Judy's daughter had been hidden by her all along. She installed the bomb in the aircraft nose, activated the detonation device, then found the captain, claiming Judy was a terrorist and demanding 50 million be transferred to a specified account immediately, or she'd blow up the plane. Only then did the captain realize this was all an elaborate scheme. He wanted to talk with Judy, but the air marshal stopped him, saying Judy refused to negotiate with anyone right now, and that she had no intention of harming others. Otherwise, she wouldn't have allowed the plane to land. The best option now is for the airline to pay as demanded first, then find a way to eliminate Judy and her accomplices. But just as the air marshal was about to return to the cabin, he was stopped by the flight attendant watching Judy. Turns out Judy had figured out this flight attendant altered the boarding records and gave the captain that forged consent form. After all, she handled all those documents. Now that everything's about to be exposed, she no longer dares stay near Judy. But the air marshal reassures her that in 10 minutes the plane will land, and then they'll detonate the bomb. All evidence will be incinerated along with the aircraft. After calming his accomplice, the air marshal returns to Judy, falsely claiming he'll stay with her till the end, and once the flight clears out, he'll help police find her daughter. Seeing the plane land safely, Judy finally feels relieved. All passengers disembark, followed by the crew. Upon seeing the captain, Judy rushes to him, confident she'll soon find her daughter. She hopes the captain will apologize for his earlier negligence, but at this point, the captain can no longer contain himself. Your money's been taken just as you demanded. G3 is waiting, just as you asked. We might be able to do it, but we might lose the child. Judy's completely confused. The air marshal beside her is about to be exposed, so he quickly lies about contacting police and hurries toward the plane exit. Judy's mind races. Combining the captain's words with her earlier suspicion of an insider among the crew, she instantly pieces everything together. The air marshal freezes in place. If he leaves now, his conspiracy will be exposed, so he reluctantly returns to the plane. But he's holding Judy's greatest weakness, her daughter. The two watch as crew members exit one by one. No one notices that one person is missing. Just as the air marshal slowly closes the cabin door, Judy grabs a nearby fire extinguisher and strikes him hard, then searches his body and finds the detonator. But just as he's demanding answers about the air marshal's daughter, that flight attendant appears behind him holding a stun baton. Judy turns and runs, managing to hide in the cockpit before the air marshal catches up. He then opens the overhead vent and tosses the flight recorder onto the roof. The noise tricks the air marshal below into thinking Judy has escaped. After confirming the air marshal is gone, Judy carefully emerges from the cockpit. But just as he's about to head to the cargo hold, that flight attendant appears before him again like a ghost. Judy first tries talking, then throws a punch, knocking the flight attendant to the ground. The air marshal hears the commotion and rushes down from the ventilation duct, but falls due to being too tense. Limping down to the lower level, he finds the cabin door wide open and a figure frantically fleeing through the snow, his accomplice. Meanwhile, Judy finally finds his daughter in the deepest part of the cargo hold. Just as he's about to leave with his daughter, he spots the air marshal climbing down. At this point, the air marshal drops the act, admitting that Judy's husband didn't commit suicide but was pushed off the roof. They did all this to use the coffin to bypass security and smuggle explosives onto the plane. According to international protocol, coffins don't require scanning or inspection. They chose Judy because he's an aircraft design engineer. No one knows this plane's structure better. They needed exactly this kind of scapegoat. This is also why they kidnapped Judy's daughter, to make everyone believe he's the hijacker. Even now that the truth is out, no one will believe Judy's testimony. That's the advantage the air marshal's position gives them. The situation is beyond salvaging. The mother clutches her daughter and hides in the safe room. The mother clutches her daughter and hides in the safe room. The mother clutches her daughter and hides in the safe room. But when the smoke clears, Judy emerges unharmed, holding her daughter tight. This overdue apology didn't take long to arrive, and the fleeing flight attendant didn't get away either. When Judy appears with her daughter, everyone looks at her with admiration. This is a high-altitude thriller of maternal love, conspiracy, and courage. Aircraft engineer Judy, grieving her husband's death, escorts his body home with her daughter, only to be caught in a hijacking plot. Her daughter vanishes, records are altered, hospital documents forged, all evidence points to her insanity. But a mother's love fuels her fight back. With her knowledge of aircraft design, she overcomes every obstacle, defeats the criminals, and exposes the drug smuggling scheme that framed her as the scapegoat, ultimately rescuing her daughter. The story reveals not just a mother's unwavering courage in crisis, but proves justice conquers evil. Even trapped alone at high altitude, with faith and bravery, you can break through darkness into light.